Yes, yes, yes. This is the HL podcast for our HL Tuesdays. We are the dopest podcast in the DMV, presented to you all by the Harris Firm and Willpower Innovations.
Yes,
I
sir.
am Rock alongside your boy Chief.
Let's get it. What it do, man? We here.
Let's get it. We are here. Blessings, man. Blessings. Now, again, people, this is our HL interviews. All right. So for our HL interviews, we'll be sitting down and interviewing up and coming and established Black entrepreneurs, activists, educators, artists, politicians. We got a huge and inspiring lineup coming up, people. So we just want to learn more about them, about their businesses, and hopefully their plans to help the Black community. All right. So now, people, please remember that all of our interview episodes are available on all major podcast platforms and on our YouTube channel right now at the HL Podcast. Right now, we are broadcasting live on the Roku platform and Apple TV, on the Politicking app via Politicking Broadcast. And again, that's Politicking, Politikan, people. So download the Politicking app right now on the Roku platform, Apple TV. Shout out to StreamYard platform, where we are broadcasting right now live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. All right, that's Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube right now. Thank you all for following us on Facebook, TikTok, and IG at the HL Podcast. And lastly, but certainly not least, the seventh issue of the HL magazine is dropping literally next month in a couple of weeks. It will be on the HL Mag IG page and on the Black Lotus website as well. So number 7 is dropping next month, people, for Black History Month. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Well, speaking of Black Lotus, we just so happen to have the CEO herself in Charde Goins, based out of Detroit. Let's see if we could bring her in. There she. How you doing?
Hey guys, how are you guys doing today?
Doing great. How about yourself?
I'm great. Living life, moving forward. You know, same old.
Hey,
same old. I hear that. Same old. So we just gonna jump right into it. You know, I love purpose, and Marquia loves purpose. We talk about it literally all day, every day. So let's ask you, how do you feel about purpose?
How do I feel about purpose? Okay, let's get to the nitty gritty.
Let's get right to
it.
Yes. I feel like purpose, man, that it's so different for everybody, right? And I think that the biggest thing when it comes to purpose is really just figuring out who you are in this life journey that we have, and what it is that you're bringing to the world, what you're contributing, what makes you happy and what makes you feel alive, and also reciprocating that love and that life that, whatever you believe in, spirit, God, give you, and taking those talents and passions and putting that back into the ether with gratitude. So.
Ooh.
That's dope.
I like that. So while we're still on purpose, I'm going to ask you, what do you believe is your purpose? Now, I feel as my purpose is to liberate others' purposes by living in my own. So what do you believe your purpose is?
For me, personally, I would say that love is my purpose. To spread love, to be love, to give love, to cultivate love, to share it and show people what love is. I feel like I am love, and everything that I do is an extension of me. And I try to make sure that I'm putting that same love and energy into my life, the people around me, into my career path. And love is very multifaceted, right? We love our friends, we love our family, we love our partners, and those are all different types of love. So I think that I'm just a love liberator. I don't know if that's a thing.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. Love beats all anyway, so that's a perfect purpose to live in. So as we move on, we said earlier that you're based in Detroit, which means you grew up there. How was it coming up in Detroit?
It was nice, honestly. Well, see, now I live in I did live in what I guess people would consider to be the hood now, but it wasn't the hood when I was growing up there. So it was kind of like lower middle class, moderate middle class, and I would say that it was a nice experience. I think sometimes Detroit gets the weird rep from when people have never been here before and they don't know too much about it. But it's very beautiful. It's a very beautiful city. We've got a lot of historic homes and places that people can feel that have a lot of history and carry a lot of energy. And I would say that my community is also something that I valued a lot. I used to do theater with a local theater company, and so we would be out in the community. We used to do performances at like the juvenile detention centers, and we would do performances at different events and at museums and stuff like that. And so that was a really, really big part of my life in my adolescence growing up. And I'm still have those relationships today, which I'm very, very grateful and thankful for. Shameless plug to Mosaic. And so I would say Detroit was amazing. It's got its ups and downs. Every city comes with its positives and negatives. I do think as an adult, not the industry, the energy, I'm sorry, is changing a little bit. And I think that we need to find that collaboration again as a community.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Group economics in general is the only way we can get out of all of this. So I agree with that. So let's talk passion. What was your first passion?
Art.
Art.
Yeah, I sang. Like I said, the theater. We used to do musical theater, so I was very into singing, dancing, acting. I literally did that from middle school all the way through, even in college. When I was in college, I used to do open mics, karaoke, and all that.
That's cool. That's cool. Now answer this question, because this is going to be a big one for everyone listening. Explain how you apply that drive that you have in art into being an entrepreneur. Now, I asked you that. Shout out to the writers on this question, because this is near and dear to me. Shout out to Blackworks Creators, my guy. This is near and dear to me because basketball is my first passion, and I take that drive of getting thrown down 7 times, getting up 8. Taking people who telling me I can't do this. I use that drive and say I can't do this, that, and the third, and put it into entrepreneurship right now. So how do you take that drive for your first passion and put it into your entrepreneurial experience?
For me, I would say it takes the form of creativity. Art for me is very expressive, and it was the way that I chose to express myself. And so I believe that my company is an extension of me, and we do things in the art and have media that surrounds music and things that I enjoy, but it really manifests itself as creativity. The things that I think about when we do marketing campaigns, the things that I think about when we have new stories and new scripts to write, new stories to tell. The creativity allows me to think outside of the box and do things that I guess aren't your typical or your average what your average Joe would do, and it makes me and my company unique, and so I value that creativity always.
I love that answer. That's actually a perfect answer. So you brought up your company in Black Lotus. Please tell us how you came up with that name.
Okay, so so honestly, actually, it's kind of a funny story. I'm very big on spirit, and I was a major. I majored in broadcast cinematic arts, and so when I watch movies now, what I think about and the things that I see are the subtext, the values that they're trying to communicate, and so Avatar. If you guys are familiar, I love Avatar, and there's actually a group in Avatar at the once I don't know if it's a spoiler alert. It's an old show, but after everything kind of transpired, there was this group called the White Lotus.
Yep.
And the White Lotus was made up of, because you have the 4 nations, right? So different communities, if you will, cultures, if you will. And the White Lotus was made up of people from all those different backgrounds who had a common goal of just enlightenment and protection of the world as a whole, of Avatar, and of human values and just life, love, all those types of things. And so for me, that's what the Black Lotus is. When you think about everything that's happening in the world, especially with the Black community, it's Black Lotus because, as a Black people, we need a little bit more everything. We need more collaboration. We need more business. We are moving from a space of oppression and so it's really to our community specifically, but at our core, right, we're for human life, and we're for love and transcending all of these barriers and oppressions that have been for a very long time. So that's why it's called the Black Lotus. And then fun fact, it's Black with a K, not BLCK, because BLCK was taken. And it just so happened to be creative and good for marketing. but right. Yeah, so that is the origin of the Black Lotus and kind of what we are at our core.
I like that. Me personally, Avatar: The Last Airbender is definitely one of my go-tos. I can watch that over and over again. Yeah, a lot of my foundation comes from that as well, because it's a different show and everybody should watch that with open eyes. So I'm glad you applied that to your company, because I mean that was spiritual. So you talking your company, I mean, obviously your company's gonna go big, far. So now that we're talking about still on your company, I'm big on vision, of course, purpose and mission statements. Mm-hmm. Now, what is the Black Lotus's mission statement if it has one?
Yes, of course. So our mission is to reconstruct the Black narrative. Through honest media and entertainment, we distribute a more authentic worldview to our national audience. So we like to expand the way that we think collectively, and utilize various cultures to release the social judgment and things that pressure our daily behaviors and belief systems in society.
So why is that so important to you? Why is that mission statement so important to you?
Man, I'm not here for oppression. If you want to be honest, like I'm here for everybody to be able to, live their authentic lives and their authentic selves. So I call it coexistence. And I believe that, that's really where we're moving towards and where we should be as a community, in a space where we allow ourselves to be fully independent, and we allow people's cultures and, to be fully independent, but then we come together as a community to coexist, to learn from each other, to work with each other, to help heal each other, but we still can retain our own values, we can retain our own cultures, and not kind of silence or have them capitalized and profited off of, and just allow us to really fully be our authentic self.
I like that. We literally talk about capitalization of the Black community not too long ago. So we were just, of course, speaking on the avatars. You brought the 4 nations together. With your business, your team spreads over 5 to 6 states, including cities like New Orleans, Atlanta, New York, LA, ironically. Describe your style of leadership and getting others to see your vision. So how do you get everyone from all those cities to see your vision of Black Lotus?
Honestly, it's still shocking to me that so many people have come together and are working with me to put this into fruition. We actually are at about 48 people right now on our team. Wow. And that's just really, really amazing for me. I think it's the common goal, right? It's the independent coexistence that is underlying in our company, that everyone can kind of come together with their own perspectives, their own Blackness, and put that in the pot and kind of figure out, okay, well, how can we advance collectively? And so I think a common theme with my team overall is just the liberation of our culture and of Black people in America and around the world, right? Because we were colonized everywhere from Africa on down. So,
Right.
yeah. So I would say that it's just that desire to go back to our roots, and the desire to liberate ourselves and in turn liberate those around us. So everyone is very, very passionate about bringing value to the Black community and aiding in whatever way we can.
Perfect. That is
That's
perfect.
dope. That's dope. Appreciate that. So, and speaking about your team, right? So please tell us about your team, specifically your corporate partners with Black Lotus, and how you have challenged them and how maybe they have challenged you.
Absolutely. So the main corporate partner that we have right now is the Ryan Aubrey Company. And Ryan Aubrey actually is a colleague of mine that I met about 4 years ago. We were working on a film script together, and we didn't end up doing the film, but we maintained connection, and so we built a relationship there. And so he's had a few different companies, a similar young entrepreneur like me. And so he has a production team, and his company is a media and technology company. So he, does a lot of similar things like us. And I would say the biggest challenge, but things that we've learned and grown from with working with each other is our different, the independent coexistence, right? Like my perspective, his perspective, and how we can come together and bring that together to create the end goal, because we have the same end goal, right? But sometimes we take different paths. And so I would say the biggest thing that we're learning about right now, we're partnering in production. So understanding his systems of production and understanding my systems of production, and figuring out how we can compromise or bring them together to effectively create the stories that we want to tell. And I'm all about quality and, making sure that the value is there. And he's very like strategy, like, timelines, like this and that. I'm all entrepreneur. Oh, what's the value? Where's the love? And he's, very like, all right, we got to get it done. Okay, this needs to be here. This needs to be there. And so we kind of just bring those two perspectives together, and we keep the value, and then we gain efficiency. And so I think it's a really effective way that we're able to work together. And I would say we grow personally together as well. So having those conversations and being able to healthily have disagreements and then move forward from them. And figure out where we're going next is probably the most rewarding thing, because it allows us to grow as individuals just as much as it allows the company to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. That some of that definitely reminds me of myself and Chief, and just trying to make sure we already have the partnership, right? It's just trying to make sure, okay, we just keep elevating at this point and helping each other and inspiring one another.
Absolutely. And we actually are gonna be working with another company called Thrive In. So I'm gonna throw her out there and give her a shameless
there you go.
First one.
Thrive In, yes. Thrive In is a company focused on Black women entrepreneurs specifically. So they also do blogs and articles and things like that, but they're very big on getting women jobs, getting women connections, providing them with resources. So we are actually looking to collaborate on a potential event coming up in the next year, and I think that'll be really, really fruitful. So that's one of our newest, I would say, corporate partnerships.
I love the word fruitful, by the way.
Right.
And abundance,
Definitely.
definitely let us know how we could help.
Yeah.
'Cause
Absolutely.
that sounds like that's gonna be amazing. So
Yeah, for real though.
yeah. So from your perspective, right? Please break down the meaning behind the words artist, healer, and architect.
Okay, I see y'all. So artist, for me is my core. It's my creativity, my sacral chakra, my ideas, the vision. And then you said artist, creative, architect, correct?
Healer and architect. Sorry. Yeah, healer and
Healer. That's my personal passion. I am very big on, and like you said, with the avatar, right? And me basing the company off of the spiritual kind of like grounding of where we want to be. We all need healing, right? We've been colonized. Like we gotta stop acting like, ain't nothing wrong, that we don't have trauma, that we don't have things that we have to work through. The Black man and the Black woman, Black people as a collective, there's so many different things that are impacting our success, and that continues to give us a limiting mindset, scarcity mindset. And I've been there, you know what I'm saying? Like we all have to choose to heal. And so for me, embarking on my own healing path was just very, very eye-opening. I lifted a lot of burdens. So I believe that a healer is someone who inspires you to heal yourself. Someone who helps give you the knowledge. But I don't want you to be coming to me for every month giving me for the same medication, right? So you can something that should be gone, that you shouldn't be, keeping pure in you. I think a healer is someone who teaches you or shows you a way, a perspective, a variety of perspectives, and then allows you to take that and take the meat and spit out the bones and apply it to you how it's supposed to be applied to you based off of how you feel it connects. And inspires your own healing journey, which is never ending. And architect, for me, it's a more of a creative idea of architecture, because I feel like what I'm doing with my company is bringing people together, connecting people, constructing spaces, constructing places for us to communicate with each other, for us to share with each other, to bring value to each other. So, I'm not out here designing buildings and stuff yet.
Right.
Virtually, just building spaces for us to feel safe and that we can grow in and continue to build up together.
That's dope. Yes. There we go.
Thank you for that. So you are a CEO, a entrepreneur. So tell us a little bit about the ups and the downs that can come with that.
Oh yeah.
Just let it out.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's a testimony.
Right.
Really, I would say let's start with the downs and then we'll go to the ups. Okay. I think my biggest challenges when it comes to being a CEO and an entrepreneur, one is remembering who I am. And remembering that I know I can do this. I have the tools to do this. I've built, myself up to do this. So not to doubt. I think doubt was my biggest roadblock moving through this path, because as you start to grow, and especially this with me personally, so like a little personal backstory, I'm 22. So I tend to always be the youngest person in the room, or I usually am. I graduated in 3 years, so I graduated before technically my graduating class. So I kind of have spent my life with people who are older than me. And sometimes, and I find that very beneficial because I learn a lot. But sometimes it was intimidating because I think people were a little intimidated by me, and that reflection. They kind of, reflected that energy onto me, which made me feel little, and made me feel like, okay, well, maybe I'm too young to be doing this, or maybe I really don't know what I'm talking about. And, it's kind of like knowledge it doesn't have an age. It's about your experience.
That's right.
Yeah, you know, it's about what you go through and what you choose to learn about. And I do think that there are limits, right? You can only read so many books before you have to experience it, so you can really gain that inner knowledge, knowing, and understanding. So I think that was a struggle too, because as I continued to grow, I would feel like there got to a point where I was like, I know everything. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, sis, you don't know everything.
Right. Like, hold up.
Hold on.
Yes, and I would say that because even in college, I had a leadership position, right? And so one of my biggest issues was when I felt like people were intimidated by me, and I could feel that they were not communicating with me. I didn't try to overextend and figure out why. I was focused on the work, and I would just go do the work. But I didn't know that made them feel even more undervalued, because now they don't feel useful. And so I had to learn how to work with my kind of dominant personality, right? But to work with other people as well and figure out how I'm feeding them. And in reality, as a CEO, they don't work for me. I work for them. So, you know, like it's about cultivating everyone, right? So I have to figure out, okay, I have these people on my team. What are their personal goals? Like, where do they want to go in life? Can I feed them? What can I do to bring them resources and make them feel like, you know, this is the place that they need to be, because they're growing still. I don't ever want to stagnate anyone. And I tell my team all the time, like, if you feel like you no longer feel like you're being challenged, we need to reevaluate. So I would say for me, that was my biggest struggle, is learning how to balance my personality with others, and figuring out how to lead without, you know, feeling like there's a hierarchy, or, you know, that I'm really up here, because not. We're all in the same place, right? So I would say that was my biggest struggle. Of course, and then time management, but that's a growing struggle, I feel like. And I'm still working on balancing my personal and, you know, having the time for me and the time for business. And then I would say the ups. One of the most rewarding things is honestly being able to connect with so many people, to be able to learn so much from, you know, so many different walks of life, and I love stories, so I love hearing other people's stories and contributing to them and seeing where they want to go in life and their philosophy, because everyone doesn't agree with you, and that's fine. And, you know, learning about other people's ways of thinking, I think has been one of the most interesting and rewarding things, because it helps me to expand my mind as well, so that I'm not stagnant, and I'm not in that, you know, know-it-all energy, because there's always so much to learn. And I feel like the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know anything anyway. So I was my ups and downs. But definitely very rewarding to just be around so many amazing people all the time.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched base on leadership like that, and saying that leadership is pretty much an even ground, because the hierarchy of leadership to me is very, very earthly. You know, the leader of the pack, the leader, that's a lot of earthly, where, like a Dr. Miles Monroe would say, leadership is finding yourself and then serving your gift to the world. That's what leadership is.
Unconditional.
You know, facts. So all of this, I do this, that's very, very earthly. If you want to get off the earth and go divine, find who you are and serve it to the world. That's leadership.
Period.
Yep. So, as you know, we officially have a new president and VP.
Yep.
You know, Biden and Harris have assumed office. How do you feel about that, for one? And then for two, could the Black community see any type of progression or improvement, you know, while they're in office? Do we really see it? Do we really see it coming? Because everybody's saying, you know, all right, we got a Black VP, you know, but we know Biden's history. We know a little bit of Kamala's history as well. Right. So again, two-part question: how do you feel about them just being in office and them winning, and then do you see any change or improvement for us in the Black community?
Yes. So two things. I think that with their history, we have to be mindful of that, right? We're not the blind leading the blind anymore. So I think that, yes, representation, right? That's always beneficial. But it goes deeper than that. And so I would say that with them being in office, I feel like we voted for a lesser evil, but I think that at the end of the day, we still know who they are, and how they benefited or not benefited us in the past. And, us trusting government, honestly, it's politics, right? So everybody is looking out for their team. And unfortunately, a lot of times that really doesn't include us on a humanistic level. It includes us in a level in which we're benefiting them or their agenda. So I would say that, them being in office is, I think the only thing that we're lucky to have in America is, a non-dictatorship where we walking down the street and, like really, really impacting us like every single second of our lives. But it is on a kind of like a subconscious level, which is why a lot of people might not actually understand the depths of what it is that they're contributing or not contributing. But I do think that like I said, it goes deeper than that. So in terms of trusting what they're going to do, I think they're, not too far off from the next politician. But I do feel as though we can make advancement as a people, as a community. But I think that our advancement comes from us. I don't think that our advancement comes from relying on people in power. I think that our advancement comes from seeking knowledge, gaining understanding of where we are, of what this really is, accepting it, and then determining, okay, how can we move forward? We can gather now. We can gather in our community now. You know what I'm saying? We can rebuild community with ourselves now, but people have to take the initiative to do that. And I would say that in Detroit, like when everything was happening in the summertime, there was a lot of community organizing and grassroots organizations coming through. And I think that that's really the way to go, because we know our experience, right? We know our everyday experience. We know how things are impacting us. And we have the power to identify that and then see, okay, where do I fit in? How can I contribute? And everybody doesn't have to contribute in the same way, right? That's why we're different. That's why we have, so many different people and pieces to the puzzle. I would say there's always room for Black advancement, but eliminating scarcity mindset, believing that you actually can do that for yourself and that you have the power to do that for yourself and your community is the first step. Because, and I don't know if this is a Black people thing, but when you got spirit, ain't nobody hold you back. You know what I'm saying? Can't nobody stop you from doing what it is that you are meant to do in the world if you believe in yourself and you choose to embark on that path. Now, it comes with sacrifice. So you have to be willing to do what you got to do. I got to get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, you know what I'm saying, to make sure my day starts good. I sleep at 12 o'clock. What work am I going to be able to get done? So, it's those personal sacrifices and things that we have to make as a community. But I think the first thing is education and coming together as a people. But I do believe that we can advance. I believe we are advancing every day.
I agree.
That's dope. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So, please tell the people about your own podcast. Now that you're on ours right now, tell them about your own podcast, Dear Black People. And will it be returning in 2021?
Yes. We're actually shooting this weekend. So,
yeah. Let's get it.
So Dear Black People, it is a podcast that I started by myself. I actually did a podcast that wasn't too far off. Let's Get Real when I was in college, and it was about the social climate and politics and stuff like that with a colleague of mine. And after I graduated, I was like, okay, I still like podcasts and I want to speak to the people. And some of my friends, this running joke, Dear White People. Everybody's like, yeah, you're like the girl from Dear White People. Like, you should do that. Just like, I mean,
that was wasn't that Tessa Thompson?
Yeah.
Nah, that was Logan something.
Yeah, I don't.
I forget her name. Now I gotta Google it.
Right.
Yep, that's what I'm about to do. Dear White People cast.
Right.
Her name is you're right. Her name is Logan Brownie.
Logan Brownie.
Okay.
But yeah, so everybody kind of had that. I was all Black Power in college, and so Dear Black People for me was more so tapping into my message for the Black community, but based in spirit, because that was I started right around the time of my spiritual journey. And so what I talk about on the podcast, it ranges from, things that are happening socially in our social climate that are impacting us as a collective spiritually. I really try everything back to spirit and back to our roots. And so like episode, I talked about chakras and I talked about grounding. In another episode, I talked about, colorism and the perpetuation of different mindsets that impact our behavior towards one another through time. And so really dissecting the Black experience is what Dear Black People is about. And figuring out how we can apply that to our everyday life and heal.
Oh wow, that's deep. You gotta have us on.
I'm about to say we ready.
We ready.
Yes, we will be coming back. It'll be bi-weekly, and I'll actually be going live a few times too. So definitely be on the lookout. But we will be launching Dear Black People in February, Black History Month. But Black history is history, and live Black history every day. But we are starting in February, and it'll be a bi-weekly podcast video.
That's what's up. Yeah, we'll definitely be on the lookout and help you, promote and give you those views and just help you push it around the world. That's what we're about, promoting purpose. So we definitely got you. So one last question of this segment. What is your main focus in 2021?
My main focus in 2021. Okay, I have two.
Okay.
One is to stay committed to myself and my growth and loving me first.
Mm-hmm.
And then two, to put my team on salary.
I hear that. Explain that a little bit.
Like that.
So like I said, I have a decent amount of people that are really volunteering their time to this cause, to this value. And this company is going to happen, right? I'm not giving up on it, so it's going to happen regardless. Whether it's this year, whether it's next year, but we're starting now. And the way Spirit been having me back, and the way media is right now, I'm not too worried about how it will speak up. But so for me, putting my team on salary is just a very big thing because I want to give to them. And yes, right now I'm giving to them in the way that I can, which is education, which is experience, which is passing down my knowledge. Once the company starts to make the coin, my team needs to make the coin too. Because one big thing that I've noticed when it comes to elevation is that Black people find it difficult to elevate because we are stuck in survival mode. Because we're not getting paid enough. We don't have the right food. We living in food deserts. Our basic needs are not being met. And so I want to be a company that takes that into consideration first. That I'm not lowballing you. I'm paying you what you're worth. So because I expect my team to work hard. But I also want to give them that value and make sure that they feel value and that they're growing. So for me, being able to put them on salary will honestly be one of the best. It'll make me feel good because I'll know that we're all moving together. We're all moving forward. And it's not even about me taking a piece of their, healing, and they're like, oh, I did this for you, but just like that you're here, that we're all here. Like, you don't gotta worry about surviving no more. Like, what do you want to do? Where's your creativity? Like, what do you want to bring into fruition in this world? And so it helps the collaboration, and so that's one of my biggest goals is making sure that we move to a place of solid finance. So that we can get out of survival mode and start living.
Amazing answer. Amazing answer.
That's dope. Appreciate it. All right, so now we're about to get into our quick five. All right, so I'm going to ask you 5 questions. We need quick answers, 5 quick answers. All right, so first up.
Yeah.
So first up. So tell us one thing that you know now that you wish you knew at the beginning of your journey.
That I am, always will be, and always have been the shit.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Yeah.
Okay. Which public figure that has passed on would you have loved to have met, and hopefully maybe shared experiences with, maybe business opportunities, or just pick their brain for their knowledge?
I would say Maya Angelou, because creative, her experience was heart-wrenching, and her ability to overcome was phenomenal. And then all of the art, all of the literature, like I'm very big on art. So like all that she created, the passion that she brought into the world, it would have just been a nice conversation, definitely a nice conversation to sit down and talk with her.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope. Great answer. Next, please say a curse word that you might use in your everyday vocabulary.
Fuck.
Okay.
Right.
Hey, that's dope. Hey,
Yeah.
we all say it. Shit. We all say that one. So how does one determine the strength of self or the knowledge of self?
Ooh.
Wow, y'all got me stuck on that one. Okay, the strength of self. How do you tell how strong you are? You wake up. Did you wake up? Did you step out of bed? Did you, look outside and breathe in the fresh air? Any day that you value life and that you get up, and regardless of what you got going on, you move forward. Just one step is enough. You don't gotta move the mountain, but you gotta try to, make some strides. And so I would say that in terms of strength, and then knowledge. When you listen more than you talk.
That's tough. That's tough.
I like that. And so finally, what and who do you pray for the most?
Recently, my family.
Period. Yeah, okay.
I would say that, and like I mentioned before, we all, have trauma, right? And so a big part of my journey was figuring out my trauma, and a lot of the stuff that we have comes from our environment. It comes from, growing up. It comes from all the experiences that our parents, unfortunately, and family have had, and the things that, they might subconsciously instill in us based in their own fears, or things that they haven't yet healed from. And even though we're in a very progressive time, our families, my parents at least, were kind of on, I feel like, the cusp of like, okay, conservative, like lifestyles, specific, ways of living, to now it's changing a little bit. Okay, a little bit to where we are, it's like they don't even understand us at all. And so understanding a lot of the trauma that they had and that they have to overcome, I think is the most difficult for me because I don't think I know everything, you know, and that I'm just like, you know, Healy McHealer, but I feel like, you know, there are some things that I see in them and my parents that I'm like, that's trauma. Like, dang, like that's heavy. You know what I'm saying? And like, I can't do anything about it other than be present to love them. But again, they have to make that choice. And so I would say that that's the biggest thing that I've been feeling that's been you know, tugging at my heart recently, and that I definitely send love and positive energy to.
Yeah, I like that.
Definitely appreciate that. Well, people, that is our interview. We want to thank everyone for listening and viewing us again live right now. People, please follow Charde Goins on IG. Please make sure you follow Black Lotus at Black Lotus on, at the Black Lotus on IG right now, and visit the website www.theblacklotus.com right now, people.
Dope. And thank you, StreamYard platform, for letting us perform live, Purpose Live right now. Please follow us on IG, TikTok, Facebook, Twitch as well, all at the HL Podcast. And please remember to check us out on HL Thursdays. That's episode 72 coming up this week, and we go check out that episode 71 that we had last week.
Yes, absolutely. So, do you have any closing remarks? Anything you want to share with the world? Share with the people.
Honestly, I want to say two things. One, live your best life, be you, and keep growing. Two, I just want to thank y'all for this platform, for having me here, and yes, the amazing questions that definitely made me think, and just your value, right, of uplift and of helping, you know, people in your fellow community. I value that so much, and I'm very happy to have crossed paths with you guys, and that we will continue to build a blossoming and amazing relationship. So I just really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Yeah,
thank you. We appreciate you, definitely.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for being on here. We definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, people, rest in peace to Kobe and Gianna Bryant, everybody. Peace and love, everybody.
Peace and love.